Welcome to the Stoic tide. There are some things that should never leave the vault. Things that once shared fundamentally change how someone sees you forever. Not because they're shameful or wrong, but because they destroy the very foundation that attraction and respect are built on. Today I'm sharing the 5 secrets that no matter how close you get to a woman, no matter how much you trust her, you should never reveal. Not because women are untrustworthy, but because these revelations trigger psychological responses that destroy attraction and respect, often permanently. I'm warning you now. The 5th secret is the most dangerous one. It's something every man struggles with, something that feels natural to share, but sharing it is like detonating a bomb in your relationship. Once you reveal this, there's no going back. These aren't about being deceptive or dishonest. They're about understanding human psychology and protecting the very things that make relationships work. Let's dive into what should stay in the vault. 1. Your deepest insecurities and self-doubt. The first secret you must never share is the full extent of your deepest insecurities and self-doubts. While vulnerability is important in relationships, there's a crucial difference between sharing growth-oriented challenges and unloading your complete catalog of fears and inadequacies. I learned this distinction through my friend Jake, who was dating an amazing woman named Lisa. They had incredible chemistry, great conversation, and what seemed like a rock-a-lid connection. But Jake made the mistake of sharing every single insecurity he had during what he thought was an intimate bonding moment. He told her about his fear that he wasn't successful enough, his anxiety about his appearance, his worry that he wasn't good enough for her, his concern that other men were more attractive and capable than him. He thought this level of vulnerability would bring them closer together and show her how much he trusted her. The result was devastating. Lisa began to see him exactly as he saw himself, as insecure, inadequate, and uncertain. The confident, attractive man she had fallen for was replaced in her mind by someone who couldn't even see his own worth. The relationship ended within a month. Here's the psychological reality. When you constantly express deep insecurities to a romantic partner, you're essentially asking them to carry the emotional burden of reassuring you about your worth. This transforms them from a partner into a therapist, and attraction rarely survives that transformation. 2. Your complete romantic and sexual history. The second secret that should stay locked away is the complete detailed history of your romantic and sexual experiences. While some discussion of past relationships is normal and healthy, sharing too much detail about previous partners creates problems that can never be fully resolved. I witnessed this mistake through my friend Marcus, who believed that complete transparency meant sharing everything about his past with his girlfriend Sarah. During a late-night conversation about previous relationships, he went into detailed stories about ex-girlfriends, what they were like in bed, specific things they did together, how those relationships ended, and even comparisons between Sarah and previous partners. Marcus thought this honesty would build trust and intimacy. Instead, it created insecurity, jealousy, and mental images that Sarah couldn't get out of her head. Every time they were intimate, she found herself wondering how she compared to his exes. Every time he mentioned a female friend, she wondered about their history. The detailed information that was meant to bring them closer actually created distance and distrust. Here's the psychological truth. Too much information about your past creates mental competition between your current partner and your previous ones. When someone has detailed knowledge about your romantic history, they can't help but compare themselves to those experiences, usually in ways that create insecurity. Rather than confidence, the appropriate level of sharing about your past involves general themes and lessons learned, not specific details or comparisons. You might share that you've learned the importance of communication from past relationships, but you don't need to share intimate details about how those relationships functioned or ended. 3. Your moments of weakness and breaking points. The third secret involves those moments when you've been at your absolute lowest, when you've cried uncontrollably, had panic attacks, felt completely defeated, or been overwhelmed by life to the point of complete breakdown. While these experiences are part of being human, sharing the full extent of these moments can fundamentally alter how you're perceived. I learned this lesson through watching my friend David's relationship change after he shared his breaking point with his girlfriend Emma. David had gone through a period of intense stress. Job loss, family problems, and financial pressure all hit at once. During this time, he had what he described as a complete emotional breakdown that lasted several days. When things stabilized, David decided to share this experience with Emma in detail. He told her about crying for hours, about feeling completely hopeless, about moments when he couldn't stop shaking from anxiety. He thought sharing this would help her understand what he'd been through and bring them closer together. Instead, Emma began to see him as fragile and unstable. The strong, capable man she had fallen for was replaced in her mind by someone who could completely fall apart when life got difficult. While she was sympathetic and supportive, the fundamental way she viewed his strength and reliability had changed. Here's the psychological reality. While everyone has breaking points and moments of weakness, sharing the full extent of these experiences can trigger protective instincts in partners that work against romantic attraction. When someone sees you as someone who needs protection rather than someone who can provide protection, the dynamic of the relationship shifts. 4. Your financial fears and money anxieties. The fourth secret that should never be fully revealed is the complete extent of your financial fears, money anxieties, and economic insecurities. While financial transparency is important in serious relationships, sharing every fear and anxiety about money creates stress and insecurity that damages the relationship dynamic. This lesson became clear to me through my friend Chris, who was dating a woman named Jennifer. Chris was doing well financially, but had deep anxieties about money stemming from growing up in a financially unstable household. He worried constantly about losing his job, about not having enough savings, about not being able to provide for a future family. During what he thought was an important conversation about their future, Chris shared all of these fears with Jennifer. He told her about his anxiety attacks when paying bills, his obsessive checking of bank accounts, his fear that he wasn't financially stable enough for a serious relationship, and his worry that she would leave him if his income decreased. Jennifer began to see Chris as financially unstable and emotionally unreliable around money. Even though his actual financial situation was solid, his fears became her fears. And instead of reassuring him, the conversation created doubt in her mind about their financial future together. She started questioning whether he could actually provide the stability she was looking for. Here's the psychological truth. When you share deep financial anxieties with a romantic partner, you're asking them to take on emotional labor around money that isn't their responsibility. Financial fears are contagious, and sharing too much detail about your money anxieties often creates the very insecurity you're afraid of. 5. Your desperation for the relationship to work. The fifth and most dangerous secret, the one that destroys more relationships than any other, is revealing the full extent of how desperately you need the relationship to work, how much you fear losing her, and how empty your life would feel without her. This is the secret that feels most natural to share because it seems like the ultimate expression of love and commitment. But revealing this level of emotional dependence is relationship poison that creates the exact outcome you're trying to prevent. Here's the devastating psychological truth. When you reveal how desperately you need a relationship to work, you transform yourself from a prize to be won into a burden to be carried. Instead of being someone she's excited to choose, you become someone who needs her to choose you. That neediness kills attraction faster than almost anything else. Women want to be with men who want them but don't need them. They want partners who would be disappointed to lose them, but wouldn't be destroyed by it. They want to feel chosen by someone strong enough to walk away if the relationship doesn't serve both people. So there you have it. The 5 secrets that should never leave the vault. Your deepest insecurities and self-doubt. Your complete romantic history. Your moments of total breakdown. Your financial fears and anxieties. And your desperation for the relationship to work. If this video helped you understand the difference between healthy vulnerability and emotional dumping, hit that subscribe button and share your thoughts in the comments.